Hello, good day, and thank you for tuning in today's session of Business World Insights. Talk about cancer, hashtag BC We Can, presented by Hope From Within. My name is Charlene Chua, Business World Senior Reporter, and I will be your host and moderator for today. Over the last few months, Business World Insights has focused on sectors and industries that have been greatly impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic. But today, we're putting the spotlight into an equally important topic: breast cancer awareness. And how important is breast cancer awareness? According to the Global Cancer Observatory, breast cancer is the most common type of cancer that is affecting women worldwide. In fact, in 2018, there were 2 million new breast cancer cases recorded globally. And in the Philippines, there are about 25,000 new cases recorded yearly. But despite these alarming statistics, a lot of Filipinos are still unaware of the importance of early detection for better treatments and the symptoms of breast cancer. And this is why we're very, very honored to share the screen today with today's panelists who will share their stories of hope and valuable insights on how we can effectively win the fight against breast cancer through helpful information, guidance, and strong support. So today we're going to have with us, and we're very lucky to have them here, Dr. Meredith Garcia-Trinidad, Dr. Gia Sison, Ms. Jaymee Joaquin, and Mr. Marlo Mortel. Hello, Dr. Meredith, Dr. Gia, Ms. Jaymee, and Marlo. Please say hi to our audience.
Hello. Hello.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. We love having you here. Thank you. And now, to kick off our discussion is Dr. Meredith Garcia-Trinidad, who will share with us the journey of a breast cancer patient from the perspective of a doctor, from detection to treatments to possible recovery. Dr. Anne Meredith Garcia-Trinidad is a consultant medical oncologist in several hospitals in San Carlos City and Dagupan City, Pangasinan. She is currently the head of the Multimedia Committee of the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology. She also runs a cancer awareness Facebook page called Payo ni Doc Meret. Hello again, Dr. Meredith. And could you briefly explain to us what is breast cancer? I know there are several types. And how can it be easily detected? And if diagnosed, what are the treatment options available? Go ahead, Doc Meret.
Hi, good morning. Thank you so much for having me today to speak about the most common cancer that we see among our patients. So for your first question, what is breast cancer? So please allow me to discuss some details in Filipino because some of these will be better understood if they are explained in the vernacular. So I'll be speaking in Tanglish. Okay. So what is breast cancer? So breast cancer begins with the abnormal growth of cells. So yung cells po, yun yung nagme-make up sa mga bawat organs natin sa katawan. And cancer happens when these cells, they start growing abnormally, they start multiplying abnormally. So kapag dumadami po siya ng dumadami, yun po yung nagiging tumor or bukol na nakakapa. So it is the same as malignant. So when you see in a biopsy report that it says malignant, it means po na cancerous yun. So the cell is able to multiply uncontrollably. And at the same time, siya po ay nag-spread or nag-invade, sumasakop sa ibang organs. So sa mga uri ng breast cancer, there are many types of breast cancer, but the two most common that we see would be invasive ductal carcinoma and invasive lobular carcinoma. So ano po yung ductal and yung lobular? So when you say ductal carcinoma, it means it begins in the milk ducts in the breast. So these milk ducts po is yung parang daanan. So para po siyang tubo, parang ganon. Doon dumadaan yung gatas. So when the cancer starts in the milk ducts, that's what we call ductal carcinoma. Pag sinabi po na invasive, it means that the cancer cells are able to go out of the lining or the wall of those ducts po. And then when you say invasive lobular carcinoma naman, it means that the cancer begins in the lobules. So isipin niyo po yung lobules para siyang supot. Yan yung mga supot sa loob ng breast kung saan po nilalaman yung gatas. Okay? So pag doon po nagsimula ang cancer sa lobules, yun po yung tinatawag na invasive lobular carcinoma. Okay? So ganun din siya, when it goes out of the walls of the lobules, that is what we call invasive. Meron din po kasing tinatawag na in situ or stage 0 kung saan ang cancer is nandoon pa lang sa loob ng either nung duct or nung lobule po. Okay. And then, Paano ba siya nadedetect? So, of course, ang una nating tatanungin, what are the signs and symptoms of breast cancer? So, what should you watch out for? What should you consult with a doctor kapag meron kayong naramdaman ng mga signs and symptoms na ito? So, of course, the most commonly reported symptom pa rin ng mga pasyente is yung bukol. So, kadalasan, ang una talagang kwento is meron silang nakakapa na bukol sa breast. Sometimes, actually, hindi sinasadya eh. So, minsan nabunggo lang, tapos akala nila dahil yon sa nabunggo kaya nagkaroon ng bukol. But actually, parang incidental lang na napansin nila because nakapa nila nung nabunggo or natamaan siya. So, breast lump is still the most common. Okay? And then, some other symptoms of breast cancer would be sa kilikili, no? So, kulani or lymph nodes sa kilikili because these lymph nodes or kulani in the kilikili are directly connected to the breast. And then, other symptoms would be abnormal nipple discharge. So, yung nipple discharge po, usually kapag siya ay related sa cancer, would be bloody, may dugo siya, or medyo parang brownish. Pwede siyang liquid na may kahalo na color brown or red. And then, there could also be skin changes. Maari pong makapansin na namumula. Okay, so there can be redness, pwede rin pong thickening, parang kumakapal yung balat ng breast. Pwede rin po na yung tinatawag namin na pod orange or parang balat ng kahel. So, kung nakita niyo ho sa balat ng dalandan or ng orange, para ho siyang makapal and then may dot siya na parang uka-uka. So, pwede rin hong ganun. So, parang namamaga yung breast and then nagkakaroon siya ng parang balat ng kahel. Okay? And then, meron din po kasing mga cancer actually na hindi tinutubuan ng bukol. So, there's a type of cancer we call inflammatory breast cancer, which is not that common. It's only around 5% of cases. Pero sometimes, some patients will not have an actual lump or mass, but they will be able to see that there's redness, warmth, mainit siya pag hinawakan. And then, yung iba nagsusugat din po. Pwedeng magkaroon ng sugat na hindi gumagaling or non-healing wound on the surface of the breast. Sometimes po, medyo mas subtle din eh. Minsan napapansin asymmetry or hindi pantay yung size or shape ng breast. Okay? Pero actually, 90% ng mga bukol na nakakapa, okay, actually ay hindi po cancer. So usually around 10% of those lumps lang po will turn out to be cancer. But since the only way for us to know kung cancer yun is hindi is magpatingin sa doktor. So we still advise that every time may nakakapa na bukol, since hindi natin yan malalaman until you check up with your doctor, kailangan magpatingin po kaagad. So when you see your doctor, meron pong mga test na gagawin. So, magsisimula muna yan sa history and physical examination. So, i-interviewin kayo ng doktor ninyo about kung kailan nagsimula ang bukol. Magtatanong siya sa inyo about yung mga family history, ganyan, and other symptoms na kasama nung bukol na tumubo sa inyo. And then, usually, the first step, magpapagawa ng mga imaging studies. So, dyan po kasama yung mammogram. Meron ding breast ultrasound. And then, kung talagang nagsususpect siya ng malignant siya, talaga pong i-biopsy. So, we usually base it on the physical appearance of the mass and also on the results of the mammogram or the breast ultrasound. And then, we offer biopsy to the patients. So, there are different types of biopsy. Meron pong needle. So, para po siyang barrel na needle po, no? So, may maliit na needle po, tapos sisip-sip ng tissue or laman from the breast. It can also be an incision biopsy, so meaning maghihiwa po and kukuha ng small sample ng breast tissue. And then pwede rin pong excision. So kung hindi po ganun kalakihan yung bukol, sometimes they will take out the complete po na bukol and then yun yung titignan sa microscope para makita kung meron ng malignant cells or cancer cells yung bukol. And then after that, meron pong mga additional tests kami na ginagawa, yung panel testing or biomarker testing, which is i-discuss natin in detail later, para ho makita rin kung ano yung iba pang mga katangian at maaaring treatment options na pwede naming i-offer. Depende sa kind of tumor na makikita natin. Tapos kung ano ho, medyo mas nasa advanced stage, nagpapagawa din kami ng mga additional tests para tignan kung nag-metastasize or kumalat yung bukol. So we might also request for chest imaging studies. Usually po, the minimum is a chest x-ray and abdominal imaging. So usually the minimum for that would be a whole abdominal ultrasound. And then, if meron pong mga bone symptoms ang patient, meaning sumasakit ang likod, sumasakit ang buto-buto, or mayroong mga abnormal na tests sa dugo that are related sa buto, sometimes we will also order for a bone scan. Okay? So, yun po muna. We do all these tests. Number 1, to diagnose what kind of tumor a patient has. And then number 2 po, to stage the patient. Kasi yung stage po is very important as well para ho makapag-decide kami kung ano yung treatment plan. So, ang panggagamot po ng breast cancer ay hindi dekahon. So, ito po ay tinitailor namin sa stage at sitwasyon, mga katangian ng bawat pasyente. So, iba-iba ho siya. So, pag ginagamot namin siya, meron kami pong tinatawag na multidisciplinary team approach. So, when a patient is diagnosed with cancer, you don't only have one doctor. You will have a team of doctors who will offer you different treatment options that all of which go together in order to make the treatment more successful. So, some of the treatment options that are available would be surgery. So, ito po yung operasyon. Karamihan po ng mga breast cancer ay inooperahan muna, lalo na yung mga maliliit at hindi pa yung tinatawag na locally advanced. So, operasyon po. And then, of course, nandyan po ang mga ating systemic therapies. Ang kasama po dyan is yung chemotherapy. Okay? Meron pong hormone therapy. Meron ding targeted therapy. At yung pinakabago sa ngayon is yung immunotherapy. So, ito po ay mga iba-ibang klase ng treatment na nagtutulong-tulong para ho matanggal talaga yung cancer. And when I explain to patients, sometimes they will ask you, Dok, ang dami namang gagawin. Bakit ang tagal bago yan matatapos? So, medyo na-anxious sila thinking about it na ang daming gagawin. But when I explain to them, usually I use the analogy of an akyat bahay or magnanakaw na gustong pumasok sa bahay mo. So, for example, this is your house. And then, you are a patient na dapat, based sa recommendations, kailangang mag-undergo ng operasyon, ng radiotherapy, ng chemotherapy at ng hormone therapy. So sabihin natin, kunwari, ito yung nirecommend ng doktor. Surgery, radiotherapy, chemotherapy, hormone therapy. So kung yung akyat bahay or magnanakaw ay yung cancer at meron kang hindi nagawa doon, yung sa mga walls mo, meron kang butas doon, mas madaling makakapasok yung akyat bahay o yung magnanakaw. So that's usually how I get to convince my patients na talagang kailangang mag-undergo lahat. So, kung kailangan ng radiotherapy, gagawin. Kung kailangan ng chemo, hormone therapy, gagawin siya. So, it's really a multimodality treatment. So, in order to increase the chance for your cancer to be treated, it should be done in a multidisciplinary approach. So, yun po yung mga ginagamit namin na treatment sa patients. So, the thing about breast cancer po kasi, it is actually curable when detected early. So, in terms of survival, if the cancer is confined to the breast, the survival in 5 years, meaning sa bawat 100 pasyente, ilan ang buhay sa bawat 100 pasyente in 5 years, is actually more than 90% kapag na-catch siya na sa breast pa lang. Pag umabot siya sa mga kulane, it's around 80 to 90%. Kaya lang, kapag may nakita na kalat, talagang bababa siya. So, it can be less than 30% kapag may nakitang spread. That's why it's very important that it's detected early. So, kapag meron hong nakapa or napansin na kakaiba, magpatingin agad sa doktor because that's the only way that we can detect it. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Meredith. And
yeah, thank you.
You've said a lot about the different types of cancer, diba? Pero let's talk about triple-negative breast cancer. I heard that it affects mostly younger women.
Yeah.
That's why Hope from Within actually launched the #BCWeCan initiative because of this. But can you tell us, like, ano ba tong cancer na to? And can this be prevented? Kasi the name sounds ominous.
Yeah. So yun, so yung kanina, so medyo in-intro ko na siya. So there are additional tests that we do in the specimen. So for example, after kayong makuha na ng specimen and then makita na cancer siya, so maaaring invasive ductal or invasive lobular carcinoma, meron kaming additional test na pinapagawa. Yung pag dinidiscuss sa patient, usually pinapaikli namin kasi medyo mahaba eh. Yung tawag namin sa kanya is ER/PR/HER2. Estrogen receptor, progesterone receptor, and HER2. So, itong mga ito ay receptors or mga protina sila na nakikita doon sa cancer cell na tawag dito, nagdadagdag sa katangian nila. So, for example, yung mga pasyente na estrogen receptor and progesterone receptor positive or may isang positive doon sa mga yon, ibig sabihin, yung mga cancer na ito ay dependent sa estrogen at progesterone para sila ay tumubo or mag-multiply. So, estrogen, progesterone ay yung mga female hormones po. Okay? So, kapag estrogen and or progesterone receptor positive, ibig sabihin dependent sila sa estrogen. So, meron kaming mga binibigay na mga gamot, maaaring tableta, maaaring injectable, na magre-respond yung patient kapag siya ay ER and or PR positive. So, yung mga hormone treatment na ito or endocrine therapy, para lang siya doon sa mga ER, PR positive. And then yung HER2 naman is another protein na kailangan ng breast cancer para siya ay mas makapag-multiply. So yung mga pasyente na positive sa HER2, usually sila yung mga may mas aggressive na cancer. Kung titignan, parang ang pinaka-list na agresibo na cancer ay yung mga patient na ER, PR positive, tsaka HER2 negative. So may iba-iba siyang combination. Pero yung pinaka-mahirap gamutin at pinaka-agresibo is yung triple negative. So, ibig sabihin po no, negative siya for the ER, PR, and the HER2. So, one reason is because mahirap gamutin, mas limitado yung aming mga options. So, kumbaga, we are limited to usually chemotherapy and yung mga bagong gamot na meron kami. Tapos, usually ito yung nakikita sa mga mas bata. Okay, so it's around 15 to 20% ng mga breast cancer patients and it's more usually seen sa mga bata. So a lot of my own patients na young, yung mga below 40 na patients ko, usually sila talaga yung mas mahirap gamutin, lalo na kapag triple negative sila. So sila yung usually ilang beses kaming magre-repeat ng chemo because nga yung triple negative na ito is siya yung talagang pinaka-aggressive na kind ng cancer. So, prevention, wala rin talaga tayong mabibigay na prevention for it kasi most cases of breast cancer kasi is what we call sporadic. Meaning talagang nagkaroon lang, natamaan lang yung DNA mo, nagtatamaan yung genes mo, tapos yun, naging cancer na siya. So, wala siyang exact na, anything that can definitely prevent anyone from getting breast cancer or a triple negative breast cancer. Pero, as with any type of breast cancer, talagang early detection pa rin yung kailangan sa kanya.
So, since we can't prevent breast cancer, kasi you talked about how sometimes you're just, yung genes mo and DNA affects you that way. Pero you were talking about complete panel testing. I think one of the things you were talking about is the importance of early detection, diba?
Yes.
And one of those types of things is like having complete panel testing.
Yes.
So can you walk us through what is complete panel testing?
So yung complete panel testing would be what also we call biomarker testing. So yung pinaka-basic that we order would be what I mentioned earlier, the ER, PR, and HER2. So, minsan may patients na hindi definitive yung first test nila for the HER2. So, meron kaming additional test na ginagawa. And then, for patients with advanced or metastatic or stage 4 breast cancer, there are other tests na mga pinapagawa namin. So, hindi lang kasi ito yung mga bagay na meron ang cancer. So, like we said, ang pagkakaroon ng cancer is dahil din sa mga mutation or depekto sa DNA or genes. So, there are certain genes din na mga tinetest namin. So, for example, dyan, yung BRCA or BRCA mutation. So, ang pinakakilala natin na meron nito would be si Angelina Jolie. So, yung mga patient na merong BRCA1 or 2 gene, sila ay mas mataas ang risk na magkaroon ng cancer versus sa average risk women. And then, meron pang mga ibang genes, medyo scientific na, NTRK, PIK3CA. So, actually, mahaba yung listahan, very long siya. And then, meron din tayong mga biomarker na chine-check na para sa parang immunotherapy. So, meron po tayong tinatawag na PDL1. So, PDL1 po is a protein na makikita sa cancer cell na kapag ito ay positive or meron yung cancer cell ng PDL1 na ito, siya ay candidate para sa immunotherapy. So yung PD-L1 kasi na yun, kapag meron siya sa cancer, parang yun ang disguise niya. So when the cancer has this PD-L1 protein, the body is not able to detect it, so hindi siya nalalabanan kaagad. So may mga gamot tayong pwedeng ibigay. And then meron din tayong mga other advanced tests like yung microsatellite instability testing tsaka yung mismatch repair na testing. So anong ibig sabihin nun? Yung mga cancer cell kasi is maaring meron silang parang problem sa pagre-repair. So pag nagkakaroon ng sira sa DNA, hindi nila nare-repair ng mabuti. So yung mga patient na mataas din ang kanilang score dito ay candidate din para sa immunotherapy. So yun yung mga available na usually in-order namin na mga test na complete panel dito sa Philippines.
But how important is complete panel testing too? Like, how does it affect patient survival? And what kind of patients do you recommend complete panel testing to?
Yung complete panel testing, usually yan yung para sa advanced tsaka metastatic na disease namin siya usually in-order. Although, maaring sa ibang countries kasi readily available siya eh. So, meron silang mga tinatawag na mga genome sequencing na as in everything. So, pero for us kasi, since it's not as readily available and it can be expensive, talagang medyo ita-tailor mo rin talaga. So, pinaka-basic pa rin at least the ER/PR HER2. But when we have patients na advanced and metastatic, lalo na kapag yung talagang nahirapan kang gamutin, it's very helpful talaga to get the complete panel testing. And then, yung sa BRCA din, important yan para dun sa mga patient na mukhang may family history, like if they have first-degree relatives na merong breast or ovarian cancer, so ino-offer din namin siya. So it's ideal talaga na complete yung magagawa. But I think medyo ang problem natin in the Philippines would be the resources to actually do the complete panel testing. But of course, we offer it to patients. Yun lang, presyo din kasi. So it can be expensive to do the complete panel.
Okay. But again, we've talked about how important early detection is. Pero this 2020 is not a normal year. We have COVID. And we have to stay home. So how can we make sure that breast cancer patients are able to receive the treatment they need? Kahit na maybe they shouldn't go outside, diba? Kasi probably they're immunocompromised. Like, what are the options for them?
So for non-urgent consultations, meaning yung kunwari, kung new patient, pwede naman, yung mga follow-up, pwede naman naman silang i-telemedicine. So actually, marami namang available ngayon, mga private doctors, meron ding mga hospitals offering telemedicine services. So, syempre, since may video naman, so pwedeng makita. The limitation nga lang with telemedicine is we can't do a physical exam. So, we can only look at the patient, we can only talk to them, but we can't really palpate, we can't really touch and see ano talagang itsura. And then sometimes the video can be unclear kasi so pixelated. But that can be an option, especially siguro for those elderly patients, yung mga may ibang sakit, diabetic na medyo takot talagang pumunta sa ospital. But actually, meron na kaming parang ginawa na survey sa mga PSMO doctors na talaga namang everyone sa amin, we are taking extra measures to protect you when you go to the hospital. The hospitals that you go to are also taking extra measures, security measures to ensure your safety when you go to the hospital. So sometimes kasi ang problem kasi marami rin talagang mga na-delay na consults because of COVID. So just to share, I have actually seen an parang artificial rise in the number of my new patients because I think these are the patients na hindi na makatiis kasi tagal nilang tiniis na hindi nagpatingin kasi takot silang lumabas. And then now they're all coming to the clinic, dumadami yung new patients and medyo scary siya. So please, if it's really a bothersome symptom, please go to the hospital. And yun po, we are taking measures to ensure your safety when you go to the hospital. And usually naka-separate naman po. So yung mga COVID areas of the hospitals will be separate from the non-COVID areas. So yun, kung talagang kailangan, yung options po is an actual consult, meron naman pong security measures, and then of course yung telemedicine. So if you search online, marami rin po kayong makikita na available po.
Yes. So I think the point here is, pag kailangan mo nang pumunta sa doktor, pumunta ka na.
Yes.
Pero how about, like, di ba knowledge is power? Like being informed, that's why we're doing this, di ba? Like, what other online resources can we access to get more information about breast cancer? And yeah, like something that we can read probably at home while we're
Yeah.
staying safe inside.
Yeah. So for local resources, so we at the Philippine Society of Medical Oncology, we are actually big on patient education. So we do have our own Facebook page. We also have an Instagram channel, Twitter account. So you can just search for Philippine Society of Medical Oncology. We also have a website that you can browse. There are also info there. And then, of course, Hope From Within also has their own page. So, marami rin po kayong mababasa doon sa website nila, hopefromwithin.org, and their Facebook page. And yung mga foreign din po na resources, marami ding maganda na actually madali ring maintindihan para sa patients. So, you have American Society of Clinical Oncology Cancer.net. That's actually a very helpful resource. Meron din pong American Cancer Society, European Society for Medical Oncology. Actually, marami eh. Alam ko po marami sa atin ang nag-google. Okay? Pero careful lang po tayo. If you are to get information, it should be from credible organizations po. Minsan kasi may mga makikita kayo na random pages lang na wala pong verified credibility. Siyempre, mahirap at delikado if you are getting the wrong information. But when you search for Google, always look at the credibility of the source po. So marami po kasi talagang makikita. But usually, ang magiging pinaka-reliable po would be cancer organization. So sila po yung mga mga pinaka-reliable and verified cancer doctors. Because meron din pong mga nagpo-promote syempre na magagamot ng cancer pero maaring ang mga hindi lahat yan ay mga doktor. So kailangan po maging mapagkilatis po tayo kung ano yung paniniwalaan natin kapag nagbabasa tayo sa online.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Meredith. We'll go back to you later because we have a lot of questions for you.
Okay,
but for now, we're going ahead to our second speaker, Dr. Gia Sison. Dr. Gia Sison is a breast cancer warrior and proud survivor. Dr. Gia is the head of Women's Wellness Center, Makati Medical Center, and the National Advisor of Youth for Mental Health Coalition. She also served as the Philippine leader for the Live Strong Foundation. She is also a full-time physician, blogger, a social media influencer, a speaker, a leader, and an advocate of healthcare organizations. Hello, Dr. Gia. Good morning again.
Hello, Sai. Good morning.
Hello, good morning. So, Dr. Gia, can you just please share with us like your breast cancer story from both the perspective of a doctor and a patient? Because this is a very, very interesting story that you have to tell us, I heard.
Yeah. Okay. My dad saved my life. I want to start on that note because if he didn't call me on the afternoon of February 26, that's 2013, I wouldn't have known that I had a lump on my left side. So my dad kasi parang, it was a long conversation. And so I rested my right hand on my left breast, and then I held my phone on my left. Then when I placed my right dito sa left, parang siyang table.
Mm-hmm.
So sabi ko, sige dad, I'll call you back. So pagbaba ko ng phone, first thing I did, was pinapa ko yung left side ko. And then, bam, the rest is history. As a doctor, I knew it was ugly because it had all the characteristics of an ugly lump. No? It was fixed. Wala siyang definite shape. Ang laki niya. So parang, I knew it was cancer. And so I called my friend. Sabi ko, yun, I had a lump, ganyan. So, ayan na, dire-diretso na yan, nagpa-mammogram ako. And even my mammo was ugly. Kasi, imagine a coconut tree na may dalawang bunga. So, for me, lymph nodes yun. And sabi nga ni Mere earlier, lymph nodes yun, medyo papunta na yan sa magiging spread. So, I underwent mastectomy and 6 cycles of chemo. The mastectomy part was easy, so to speak, kasi literally I wanted it out of my vagina. But the most challenging part sa journey ko was the chemotherapy part because nandun ako nakaramdam talaga ng depression and everything. I was diagnosed with stage 2A cancer, and my type of cancer is ERPR positive, HER2 neo-negative. So, nagre-respond naman yan sa tamoxifen up to now. So, I'm an 8-year-old survivor, and sana tuloy-tuloy na. I still go get those scans, but I get anxiety kasi because, there's always this pending doom or pending feeling na, what if on one of my scans, it came back, no? Am I ready for another diagnosis? So, that's one thing I always ask myself also. And of course, as a mother of 2 daughters, I tell them. No? Sabi ko nga, of all the things na ipapamana ko sa daughters ko, cancer pa. So that's also playing part of the guilt process that I have underwent as a cancer survivor up to now. So that's my story in a nutshell.
Yes. And you were talking about you were having anxiety and depression all throughout, like the cancer diagnosis.
Super.
And until now, diba, you were saying about that scan anxiety. But how do you handle that? How do you get through, like, how do you even take care of your mental health while undergoing treatments? Like, having a positive diagnosis alone could be devastating, diba?
Right. Of course, my family and friends will always support me. Like, because I'm very vocal about it. I think everyone knows my story. Because you know what? I learned the power of speaking up about the things that I might even speak for them. And it highly helps when people pray for you, that's one, and support you. And then I have this mindset already now that, okay, just in case bumalik, madami namang options. Yung mga ganon, because I read about it now. Unlike before, during my diagnosis, I dumped all my medical books. I dumped all my knowledge. Parang I didn't want to be a doctor. I just wanted to thrive as a patient. As in, thrive lang. At tapusin yung chemotherapy. Kasi para sa akin talaga, it was one hell of a journey. But it became bearable because my doctor was always there for me 24/7. My family, talagang nakinig sila sa lahat. I cried my eyes out. I always cried. Because it's a sort of, parang it's a source of strength for me na malabas ko yung sadness ko. And then what was kind of unique also about me is I did undergo DABDA . Diba? May dumadating na days na, bakit ako nagka-cancer? Bakit ako pa? Yung ganon. Ngayon after 8 years, I start to question myself.
Yes. Pero I think there's also power in you being able to speak out about your diagnosis, about your treatments, diba?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah, there is naman. I receive messages from my friends who get inspiration, not only cancer patients, but patients or friends are undergoing depression or a challenge in life. Na this too shall pass, but you just have to kailangan mo lang talaga be patient with the process and really make sure. And it was a hardcore lesson for me never to take my health for granted, which is really weird kasi I'm a doctor I should know it. But I didn't walk my talk. So that's my biggest regret. So hindi ko na yun uulitin. I have to be extra cautious now.
Okay. Thank you for being such a strong woman and a strong cancer survivor. We'll go back to you, Dr. Gia, after a while. Thank you. We have more questions for you. Doc Meredith, let's talk about the importance of having a support system when it comes to having a positive cancer diagnosis. I know this is not a battle you have to go through alone, diba po? So, what role does support systems play when it comes to battling breast cancer?
Yeah. So for our patients, there are actually many types of support that comes from different people. So it can be actually yung pinakamalapit sa'yo. So you have your friends, your loved ones, and then even in the hospital, especially the major cancer centers in the Philippines, they have even their own support groups within hospitals. So this is an opportunity for patients to talk with other patients to compare the experience. And then there are also national cancer groups, especially ngayong COVID, meron yang mga online support group that our patients can also join. So example niyan yung I Can Survive, yon. So when you actually Google, marami kang makikitang mga community. Google and search on Facebook, maraming mga breast cancer community groups. And of course, there are many online resources that can help with a patient's cancer journey. So one of which is itong sa part ng ating program ngayon, yung sa Hope from Within, their Because We Can or BC We Can initiative. So this is a breast cancer map that can help guide the patients through their cancer journey. So you can see here na mapa talaga siya. So number 1, start with a self-breast exam. So as we already mentioned, it starts with the diagnosis. So you should regularly check your breast and undergo the regular screening tests. And number 2, do not be afraid to ask. So it will really start with you talking to your doctor because only your doctor can help you confirm if your lump or your breast mass is cancer or not. So that's a very important step. And then ask about complete panel testing. So your doctor will offer to you all the necessary tests in order to fully diagnose what kind of cancer you have. And then number 4, the breast cancer type. So ito yung minention natin kanina. And then it leads to the treatment options. So the treatment options that will be offered to you, there are many different kinds of treatment, and this will be tailored towards the type of cancer that you have. Then the next step, you will undergo the treatment. So this will be under the guidance of your multidisciplinary cancer care team and the support of your loved ones, your friends who will accompany you during your treatment. And then number 7, your neo-lease in life. So actually I prefer calling them people living with cancer. So it's really, living with the disease. So it in many cases, it can be cured. Sometimes it cannot, but it can be controlled. And it's very important to learn to live with the disease. And katulad ng mga inspiring stories ng ating mga kasama na survivor kanina and caregiver na meron at merong laging pwedeng gawin para po kayo ay matulungan. So pay it forward for our sisters. So breast cancer is the most common cancer among Filipino women, and we should do everything that we can to diagnose it early, to get treated, to get treatment as early as we can, and to help other cancer patients as well by supporting them because we can. And during COVID times, special na paalala na please still consult your doctor whenever there's something unusual or bothersome that you've noticed in your body. Thank you.
Yes, we should talk about it because we can. Okay, so now we're moving on to our 2 other speakers, Ms. Jaymee Joaquin and Mr. Marlo Mortel. Jaymee Joaquin is a Filipina model, actress, and host. She also made a career in the Philippines as the late night host Kabagang in the now defunct game show called Games Up Late Live in ABS-CBN during her younger years. She has been in remission in 2017, but cancer came back in 2018, 2019, and 2020, which makes her a metastatic breast cancer survivor. She survived cancer a total of 4 times and is still currently on active treatment. She's now a budding commercial model, blogger, and podcaster under the name Jaymee Wins in the United States. That's capital WINS if you want to check her out. Hello, Miss Jaymee.
Hi, Shai. Good evening from
Hi.
San Diego. I'm all the way here in California. So it's so nice to get a feel of home. I miss Philippines so much. So it's so great to be here.
We love having you here, being a warrior and surviving cancer.
Thank you.
And now we have Marlo Mortel, who is a singer, actor, who is best known for his role as Nicolo Angelo Cortez in the noontime television drama Be Careful with My Heart. He continues to be steadfast as he copes with grief of losing his mother, Merly Pamintuan, who passed away in August 24, 2018, after a years-long bout with cancer. Hello, Marlo, and thank you for being with us.
Yes, it's a pleasure. Good morning sa lahat ng
Good
mga
morning.
kasama natin na talaga naman very inspiring. All over the world na pala ito talaga, no? So, good evening sa ibang bansa.
Okay. Yes, thank you for being with us, the both of you. And let's just go first with Miss Jaymee. Okay. Like, you've been a metastatic cancer survivor, just a warrior through and through. Like, can you just share with us your cancer journey, and now that you're also undergoing active treatment, can you share with us what it's like?
So my story is an accidental discovery, although it runs in the family. In my dad's side, I did have 2 aunts and my grandma who got breast cancer. So I've always been aware that it's in the family. But I discovered it just showering. I was showering and just lathering, and I didn't do it with intention to check my breasts, but I happened to just check it since I was in the shower. And when I felt the lump, I didn't hesitate. I just found the nearest clinic. But nung nangyari siya, I didn't think na parang it was cancer. So I'm very optimistic by nature. I've always been happy-go-lucky kind of woman. So feeling ko like, I'm sure ano lang to, wala lang yan. Pero papacheck ko na rin to be sure. So that was my mentality. I didn't take it for granted, but I was so optimistic na wala lang. Like, it's not a big deal. So anyway, one test led to the next. And yeah, so I did a whole series of shebang of tests, from the mammogram, ultrasound, to the biopsy, and then I got confirmed for stage 2A. Initially, it was stage 2A because we didn't know yet if it was in the lymph node. So same with Dr. G at stage 2A, positive for ER and PR, and HER negative. And anyway, since I'm a 4-time survivor, I'm going to fast forward. So I did the whole shebang of treatment. I chose the neoadjuvant therapy, meaning like my onco recommended to do the chemo first with the hopes that we're going to shrink the tumor before we take it out. And then we do radiation. So, because I think may different types of treatment. Some people prefer to just do the operation first and then chemo follows. But there's a trend in America where you can do the chemo first, because if you're able to shrink the tumor, it's aesthetically beautiful if you take it out. Parang hindi siya like, parang you don't have a big dent on your breast. So I had that option since my onco presented na I don't have to do mastectomy. I can either do mastectomy, or if I want to preserve my breast, I can do the lumpectomy, which is just taking out the lump. So I chose that route. And so I did chemo, which is horrible, by the way. It's like the worst experience of my life, especially this drug called AC, which is known as the Red Devil. That's where I lost my hair, my energy. It was what we imagine in the movies to be, like the really like, wow, this is hardcore. So I had that, and then lumpectomy to take out the lump. And then that's where we discovered that it went on one of my lymph nodes. So I got bumped to stage 2B. And then I did the radiation rounds. And then I was on hormone therapy. The tamoxifen worked for a little bit. But then when I did a routine scan in 2018, we saw that there's 2 little dots. So 1 dot on each side of my pelvis, basically, like a little mole size of cancer on each side of my pelvic bone. So we did a bone biopsy. We confirmed it was cancer. So it was still a super small dot. So we knew that the tamoxifen wasn't working. And so I switched to a different hormone therapy, which is Arimidex pills and then the Zoladex injections. And that worked for me for a year and a half. So I thought like, oh, it's all good. Okay. So I'm just, because again, I'm the happy-go-lucky type of person. So I'm like a kid. Like, I get sad when it's time to get sad. So during chemo, I was feeling horrible. I cry, I sulk, I just act all bratty. But if I'm feeling good, I feel good. I don't think about cancer. I live my life. I do what I have to do. I work. I continue life in America. And so when we found out that, yeah, it went to my hip bone, we switched treatment. And that treatment, the combo of Arimidex, Zoladex, worked with me for like a year and a half. And again, the routine scan caught it that it's starting to mutate on my left lung. It's starting to grow on the pleura of my left lung. And so we had to switch treatment again. And then that treatment, apparently, which was e-brands, didn't work. So basically, we are in a rat race right now of like just being 2 steps ahead of cancer. So every routine, we discover something, we switch. So from the lung, it's now I'm having a liquid buildup on my left lung. That's why I have a catheter installed on my left pleura of the left side of my lung right here. And so I thought like the new treatment, which was e-brands and Faslodex, was working. So Faslodex was an injection and e-brands is a pill. light oral chemo, and then on the next scan, it showed that it's not working because apparently the liquid is not decreasing. So we switched again to Zeloda, which is a different chemo pill. So all the other pills I'm taking is not as hardcore as the first infusion chemo, which was the Red Devil that I was talking about. So this is very tolerable. Or I guess in my case, because I've always lived a healthy lifestyle, I've always been active. So it really plays a big factor if you live a healthy lifestyle because you're able to tolerate the medicines and the recovery is much, much faster. So so anyway, so the Zeloda was given, and then last May, I was experiencing some shortness of breath. And it was about the same time where I'm going to do my routine scan. And so my doctor told me, like, let's wait for your routine scan. But I was getting worried because I thought, like, is this COVID? Is this what's going on? Like, I'm experiencing, shortness of breath with very little movement. But I was due to with my routine scan in a few days. So I said, like, I think I can hold up. And then when I went to the routine scan, they discovered that I have 1 liter of liquid on my left lung and 1 liter of liquid around my heart. And so my doctors were all wondering why I haven't died. Because for a small girl like me, that's a lot. And I could have had cardiac tamponade or heart failure because it was just a lot of liquid. So basically, I'm drowning. I have fluid on the left side of my body caused by cancer. And so straight from the routine scan, they made me go to the ER straight. They didn't release me and just said, like, we have to do an operation ASAP. We have to drain the liquids because, you're just literally one hair away from collapsing if we don't catch this. So, yeah, so I'm grateful every day for God because that was a very, 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 very close encounter to death. And so, yeah, I stayed at the hospital for 7 days. They drained my heart from the liquid, and then they drained my left lung, and they put a catheter. Because before that, I was doing drainage, but just like one session at a time. It's called the thoracentesis. But now I have a drainage, so I drain at home now every other day. And we switched to a new drug. Right, we switched a new drug, which was Zeloda, the one I was talking about earlier. But then, recently, which was June, we saw that there's a little buildup on the heart again. So it's starting to, grow again, the liquid. And so we knew that the medicine is not working again. So now we switched again to a new drug, which is an infusion of 2 combinations, which is Gemzar. So it's a Gemzar and carboplatin. So it's a combination of drugs. So now I'm on it and it seems to be working. And what we did was I did another surgical operation last July to put a little window in my heart so that basically para hindi naiipon yung liquid sa heart. Just imagine my heart is inside a plastic bag. And para hindi nalulunod yung heart ko with the liquid, they put a little parang, kumbaga sa theory, nilagyan nila ng konting hiwa yung plastic. So yung liquid, hindi na naiipon, hindi na susuffocate yung heart ko. So it was a major surgery. And there's also a big risk of dying with it. So, and actually they had to stop my heart for a bit when they did it. So I did experience what it's like to kind of die for a few seconds or minutes. I don't know. My doctor didn't really disclose how long I was just breathing on a machine. But yeah, so that's what happened. And I recovered. And now we switched to a new drug, which seems to be working because I haven't been experiencing any symptom because I should be experiencing shortness of breath or fatigue. And so far, I haven't. Of course, it's natural after each chemo to feel, fatigued. And normal lang naman yun na mag-react ka for a few days after an infusion. Pero so far, it's been good. And so I'm alive. I'm still here. Things are looking good. And next month, I'm going to get another surgery to take out the catheter because it's showing decrease in liquid already. I might not need this anymore. So that's my story. So that makes me a total of, I'm a cancer survivor for 4 times now. And it's a weird feeling if you ask me, Shai, or to answer your question, what it's really like. It's insane. It's just every day is a gift. Literally every day I wake up and the first thing I do is I move my hands and toes I breathe, and I remember where I'm at, where I am. Okay, so I have my memory, I have my breath, everything's moving. All right, I'm good. Yes, that's it. Like that's all I need to know, and I'm good. I don't care what's going on in the outside world as long as okay, I have my memory. I don't have dementia or anything. I'm breathing. I can move. Everything's functioning. And I do a test. Like I usually go out where my mailbox is and I get my mail. And if I don't feel any difficulty or short of breath, it's good. Because before, when I had those 1-2 liter liquid on both on my left side, just literally 5 steps, I'm already like, wait, like I'm fatigued, like something's wrong with my body. I'm super active. I'm an advanced yogi. I run, so I know that something's wrong. If only with little movement I get palpitations or I get like short of breath. So that's the story. So it's really vigilance. I'm gonna tell you how to be super vigilant and sobra kang dapat ahead of the game. Kaya pang mabuhay. Parang I
Yes.
think that's what I want to impart to people watching who are scared to get treatment kasi parang fine, matakot ka, mamamatay ka kasi parang by the time ma-discover mo yun too late na kasi like in my case I think I was just a few minutes away from death with the two liquids on my left side. Parang if hindi ako nagpunta sa routine test ko or naunahan ako ng takot na ayoko na kasi iba ganyan like they just get scared to confront it, so they'd rather like wala lang to ganyan. Marami akong kilala na survivors who died because of breast cancer patients who died because of that, because they just said like ayoko, wala lang yan, buko lang yan, ayoko magpa-check, natatakot sila, and ayan na, and then by the time wala na, meron na silang severe symptom, and by the time they get checked, parang too late, na kalat na. So kaya parang lumiliit yung statistics as it advances, but I really believe in willpower and faith. If you want to live, you'll find ways.
Yes.
So you're gonna live. Oh, I want to live. Like that's what I said. Like my doctors were all. I'm a big case study in America because they keep asking like, how did you not die from like a big amount of liquid with us? Because I'm small. I'm only 5'3". I'm such a petite girl, so it's a lot of fluid. So they kept saying like, parang your heart should have given up by that time because it's so hard to pump. Like nalulunod yung heart mo with liquid, and your left lung is filled with liquid too. So you're basically functioning on just the right lung. Pero parang I think it's me, like it's my mind, like no, it's not time. I want to live. Parang I'm gonna survive. No, it's not my time, and I'll do whatever it takes to survive. So I think people should ask themselves how badly they want to live. Kasi parang cancer is really a mind battle. Like you have to learn how to twist things around in your head. You have to parang uutuin mo yung sarili mo na no, it's gonna be fine. Kaya. Forward lang. 1 foot at a time. Okay, napagod ako today. Hindi kasi nag-chemo lang ako. Reaction lang yan. Para ka lang uminom ng Benadryl. Aantukin ka, syempre. Pero pag wala na yung Benadryl, okay ka na ulit. Parang don't take it personally na, hala, eto na yun, meron masama yung pakaramdam ko, ito na yun forever, hindi natutubo yung buho ko. Kasi I think that's where you start spiraling down and you lose that will to fight.
Mm-mm.
So yeah, that's all I wanted to share.
Yeah, thank you. You're such a strong woman. I think what we can take from your story is that you have to fight, diba? You have to live and you have to want to live, diba?
Yeah, you have to want it because if you want it, it's gonna show with how you do your treatments, how you talk to your medical team, how you talk to your support system in general. Like what Dr. Gia said, I really agreed with her when it comes to being so very, very vocal with your feelings. Kasi parang I was that kind of girl din before na parang nagpapaka-solo. Like I don't want to hassle people. I want to deal with this on my own. Feeling ko I'm strong, I'm invincible. I don't need anybody. But no, I mean, if you get something like cancer, you're gonna realize how important it is to be loved and to be supported, and you should be receiving of it. Like don't say nakakahiya na, kasi it's a Filipino thing, like nakakahiya na mami na to, ayoko na, baka makaabala pa ako, ganyan. Sa America, it's the opposite. Like they teach you to just be very proactive. Like what do you need? Okay, tell us what you need. Do you need food delivery? Do you need a psychologist? Like what do you need? Like you have to be very para kang baby na instead of crying, you tell people what you need. Like even with my friends, I tell them what I want from them, what I expect from them. And if it drives them away, then they're not the right support team anyway. So it's better for them to fall out now because this is a lifelong journey.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not gonna force people who don't want to be signed up sign up. It's fine. Like some people can't handle it, and it's okay. I'm not gonna think bad about them. It just means that okay, they're not built for it, and it's fine. It's okay. You just need a
Yeah.
few, but who will stick around? Who will really be there, thick or thin, and you're ride or die. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's true.
Yeah. And I think that's where we come in na parang support systems are great and it's needed for a person's cancer journey. And now we go on to Marlo, who became the support and anchor for her mom. Like so Marlo, being the only gentleman in our panel, pero you have also your own story to share. And it's a different story because you didn't have breast cancer, your mom
Yeah.
did, and you were with her like 100% all throughout the journey. Like, can you tell us like how is it being your mother's ride or die, like what Miss Jaymee was talking about?
Well, actually, I wasn't there for her 100% in
Mm-hmm.
terms of my physical presence because I am the breadwinner of the family. So,
Okay.
ako talaga yung nagtatrabaho and I just try to give everything that I can. But of course, it's not enough. That's why, okay, I work, ito kasi yung naging system before. Uh, I used to have my dad uh, bring me to my tapings and assist me with what I need. But 2015 or 2014, my mom was diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer. And then, noong 2017, bumalik siya. It metastasized sa middle part ng chest niya. And I don't know if it's the right term, pero mediastinal tumor or mass yung nakita sa kanya nung bumalik. So, it was very difficult. And after that, talagang I was on my own. I had to work extra hard, and I also have to, take care of my mom's mental health as well, not just the physical, but battling cancer is holistic kasi. It's not just the physical, but it involves a huge part, di ba, sabi nga ni Miss Jamie, madidepress ka talaga sa process na yan. And kung wala kang magandang support system, like what you guys said, uh, mahihirapan ka because tulad sabi sa Bible verse na a cheerful heart is good medicine, but a crushed spirit dries up the bones. So, lagi ko yung tinatandaan. Kasi, pagka nawala yung will mo or nawala yung faith mo, uh, it's gonna be hard for you to battle. Kasi, you're gonna have less and less reasons to live. But since my mom is such a fighter, she fought a good fight of faith. Kaya kami, hindi din kami sumusuko. So ako pagka after ko magtrabaho, kahit sobrang pagod ako, when I go home, I take care of my mom. And then it's my dad's turn to go out, na kunin lahat ng mga kailangan niya. Kasi since ako lang talaga yung nagwo-work sa amin, uh, oo, nakaka-pressure siya, but I would give everything. And talagang pumipila yung daddy ko nun sa PCSO, and nanghingi ako ng tulong sa iba't ibang mga tao just to maintain yung financial side naman ng pagpapagamot sa mommy ko. So, I'm very lucky, and God has given me people uh, na para tulungan kami. Hindi lang sa financial, kundi meron din mga daming kilala sa hospital. So, medyo napagaan yung mga dapat uh, naming buhatin. But then again, uh, hindi pa din talaga siya enough. Kasi,
Mm-hmm.
um, naniniwala ako talaga na if it's meant to happen, it's just gonna happen. So, isa sa mga pwede kong ma-share sa mga viewers natin na kunyari, caregiver or mga nagbabattle ng cancer, iba't ibang type ng cancer, you know what? You just gotta have faith. Yun lang
Mm-hmm.
talaga. Hindi ka dapat maubusan yan. Hindi ka dapat maubusan yan kasi God created us. And
Mm-hmm.
sabi nga sa Bible, alam na ni God kung mga mangyayari na to. So, I know it's hard to say that you shouldn't worry, pero God is in control. And
Mhm.
yung worries natin, di ba, hindi naman din makakatulong, makakadagdag pa sa problema natin. And doon ko sobrang doon ko sobrang hinahangaan yung mami ko. Kasi actually hindi niya gustong ipasabi sa mga relatives namin. Tulad ng sabi ni Miss Jaymee na parang kaya niyang i-handle it on her own. Ganun siya eh. Ganun siya. And kahit kami dito sa bahay, kami lang talaga kami lang talaga yung gusto niya makaalam. Kasi ang hirap-hirap kasi nung 2017, kinailangan siyang i-open heart surgery. So, ah nag-promise kasi yung mga doctors noon na pag in-open heart surgery siya kasi dito nga tumubo and parang may mga naipit na ugat, tumubo na yung face niya, everywhere, ganyan. Ayaw niya ipasabi sa mga relatives namin. So kami talaga ni daddy yung, wala, nakikarry nung weight ng problema na ito. But
Mm-mm.
since we want to follow her kasi pagka hindi namin sinunod yung gusto niya, may stress siya, di ba? So kahit gusto na namin humingi ng tulong sa mga kamag-anak namin, hindi namin magawa kasi nagagalit siya sa amin. Inaaway niya talaga kami. Sasabihin mo? Sasabihin niya basta okay, hindi na namin sasabihin. Ganyan. Susundin ka na lang namin. Pero, pero nung nagtagal, guys, it's so hard. Kaya you should
Mhm.
really have a great support system kasi hindi namin kaya eh. Kami
Mm-mm.
lang. And
Mm-mm.
nagkakaroon tayo ng mga limited resources and limited, what they call this, help from the doctors kung hindi namin siya ilalapit. Kasi di ba,
Mhm.
kailangan mo talaga ng hindi lang isang opinion ng mga group of doctors. You need to really search kung ano ba talaga to and kung ano ba talaga yung dapat gawin. And apparently, noong 2017, nung bumalik siya, the doctors promised na 100% tatanggalin nila yung tumor. But then again, the worst happened. Ang nangyari, she lost her voice sa process. So, hindi na siya nakapagsalita. And then, nung sinabi nila na tatanggalin nila, 80% lang yung natanggal at may naiwan na iba't ibang portion ng mga tumor, ayun yung nag-grow. So, dun na naging chaos yung buong situation. Doon na kami talaga nanghingi din ng mga help sa relatives and sobrang ano ng mami ko, sobrang matapang siya and mahiyain. She didn't wanna ask for a second opinion na. Parang sobrang tiwala na siya doon. Kasi she also have, ano, talaga matindi yung faith niya na kayang ayusin to ni God. But then again, kailangan, binigay din ni God kasi yung mga doctors, di ba, for us na talagang ma-diagnose tayo, mabigyan tayo ng cure. So, it was already too late. Too late na nung naghanap na kami na second opinion na sana pala hindi mo na namin siya pin-open heart surgery. Sana pala pinaliit mo na yung tumor and then saka na lang, alam mo yan, ginamot na hindi agad-agad. Pero minsan kasi sa sobrang tapang ng isang tao, yung kailangan, hindi, kaya ko tapusin na to. But you know what, really, you should really take time. You should take time, pray to God kung ano ba yung tamang mga pwedeng gawin. Kasi di ba God will give you the right uh, spirit to or mindset to decide. Pero since
Mhm.
kami-kami lang, kaming tatlo lang, hindi namin magawa na ma-force siya na mag-second opinion prior to that na mag-open heart surgery siya. So it's
Mhm.
very important na huwag kang mahiya eh. Huwag kang mahiya to tell other people about your situation kasi admitting your weaknesses, being vulnerable, it's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign that you are strong, na ina-admit mo na hindi mo to kaya on your own. And so ang dami ko nang sinabi, 'di ba? Kahit mamaya ko pa dapat sabihin yung iba kasi um wala lang, gusto ko lang ikwento talaga na as a caregiver, it's not easy. It's not easy.
Mhm.
As a provider as well, it's not easy. I'm young din naman nung nangyari yung mga yun. But it just happened. So
Yeah.
just have to let go and let God.
Yeah. Yeah, so I think one of the main things we should take away from Marlo is that a cancer journey is not an individual journey.
Mm,
Like it's you need to have a support team. You need people na talagang who's going to be there na from start to finish or wherever it ends, 'di ba? We hope you survive, pero when you don't, at least you know you've done everything you could, 'di ba? So let's return to Dr. Gia then, just to tell us about like how important support is when it comes to having breast cancer and battling it. So for Dr. Gia and Miss Jaymee, let's start with Dr. Gia first. Like, who did you consider your anchors during the most difficult parts of your cancer journey, and what does that support mean to you as you were battling it?
Okay, my main anchor was my husband. Because he always understands. Kasi may side effect sa akin yung cocktail ko, yung chemo na parang I get claustrophobic. So parang closed spaces. I don't like it. Gusto ko ng space. He was very supportive. There was a time na parang he came home early from work. Tapos sabi niya, tara, labas tayo. So, saan tayo pupunta? So, he took me to a ride to Tagaytay. Parang just to get a breather. So, little things like that really count. Support talaga really counts kasi not also everything I can do physically by myself, especially on day 1 after chemo, na lahat talaga, my whole body is down. Sabi nga ng dad sa akin your mind is willing but your body can't. Kasi my side effects are really bone pain. So, I really reached out for the little things na dati, kaya ko naman gawin. But sabi ko, wait, I have to lessen my stress. I have to ask help talaga. So lahat yun, my family and my friends did that for me. So it's really important talaga. Support counts.
Yeah. And now we go on to Miss Jaymee. Like, who did you consider your anchors? Like, you were talking about friends being ride or dies. Like, who are these people who went with you as you still journey on as a breast cancer patient and as a survivor?
Honestly, it's super hard for my case because I'm away from my family. When cancer happened, I was here in the US. Everyone is back home. My mom, dad, everybody's home. So they offered virtual support, and there was a time my brother visited me here. But overall, I'm by myself. So I can't. It was. Hello?
Yep.
Are we
Go
back?
ahead. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so it was challenging for me in the beginning because, I mean, I call family not just by blood. I have people here I consider my family. So I made family from friends. Pero sila yung parang naging source of support ko talaga, yung my different friends here and their families. So I actually built a round robin of people who will help me, who will take me to chemo, who will, kasi of course, I know that everyone has their lives, especially sa America, walang yaya driver. Dito parang kanya-kanya lahat. So, syempre, I cannot expect this set of friends to always just be the one to take care of me. So parang, literally, parang gumawa ako ng team na parang, okay, so ikaw Mondays available. Can you help me on Mondays? Siya alam ko, Tuesday off to. So parang, shift. Parang job. May shift na ako na pwede kong tawagan to. Alam ko yung mga schedule ng mga tao na makakatulong sa akin. And sobra siguro din akong sinwerte with my medical team here. Kasi I think they saw how badly I want to live. Yung parang nakikita nila na even them, they got motivated na parang let's help this girl live. Kasi parang nakikita nila na I'm so like driven, like I have to live. I know I'm not meant to diet. I don't have family here. Parang I really just depend on you guys and on faith. Kasi hindi naman ako doktor. So wala rin ako masyadong alam with if they're injecting me the right thing. So parang faith na lang talaga. Like, bahala na si God. Lagi ko yung sinasabi yan, kung time ko na. Basta go lang ako everyday. Parang kung ano yung sabihin, go lang. O kung if it doesn't feel good, kwento sa kanila, report. It doesn't feel good, gawa. Ganun lang, talagang baby steps, moment by moment. So, if not for my friends here, I don't think I would have made it. Kasi sila yung parang they stood as family. Parang nagulat ako na even some of the people I'm not really close to here, when they found out, parang sila pa yung nag-step up. May mga iba na nag-fade. Parang ganun, hindi mo mapipredict. Magugulat ka na lang na some people that I knew since childhood, parang they freaked out. Now I lost contact with them since I got a diagnosis. And some people who are literally just strangers that I met in some Bible study, parang sila pa yung like, kailangan mo ba ng grocery? What do you need? Let me know. Do you want me to take you to chemo? Ganyan, nagpapadala ng kung ano-ano. Yung parang nakaka-shock na there's kindness in people. Parang makikita mo yung humanity na it really triggers people to parang makikita mo na buhay pa pala, parang may mababait pa palang tao na kahit hindi ka ka-close, they will treat you like family and take care of you. So yeah, parang mad credits to my friends here who stood and became my family, and my medical team who is just super on top of the game. Like, isang message lang sa my chart, they would be like, "Are you okay?" Parang, yeah, parang, yeah, I'm okay. Parang may nire-report lang akong konti. Parang sobra silang red alert with me na parang they would really just like step up. Na parang sometimes I know my on-call nurse is even like inventing stories sa insurance na parang, no, this is a life or death. So parang para mapasok lang ako. Kasi if not, magagawa yung procedure, ganun yung, I think they're fighting with me na parang hindi, parang ipasok na si Jaymee ngayon na urgent, ganun. Parang, so yeah, parang thank God for all these angels coming my way. Parang siya lang yan siya lang. Kasi kung hindi,
Yes.
I have no explanation eh. Parang I don't know how I'm surviving after 4 times. Parang there's no logic. Even my doctors are like, we don't know. We're just going with you. Like, as long as we're breathing, we're gonna be behind you. So yeah, so it's
You know what? Kasi you're so hungry to live, and God is giving you everything you need, and you know that God can turn around every situation, di ba? So
and every morning when I do my daily devotions, yan lang naman yung dinadasal ko na parang, Lord, ikaw na bahala. If time na papatanggap mo na lang sa akin. So today, gumagalaw ako. I'm good.
Yes.
Right,
That's
let's go.
the spirit. Yes. I love it.
Kasi parang wala. I think no one can predict. Kasi parang, I mean, you know, I mean, Steve Jobs, you have all these rich people in America who has all the point of stressing. Kasi parang, it's gonna be bad for your health anyway. So parang, bakit ko i-feed yun? Parang ayoko, mag-enjoy na lang tayo, ganun, parang ano na lang, chill na lang, di ba? Parang,
Tama. Live in the moment, di ba?
the doctors are trained for that. So, sila yung mamroblema. So, like ko sinasabi ko, on-call ako nila, na mamroblema ko, oh, well, you studied for that. So, let me know, ha, like, what you think. Parang basta ako, mag-enjoy ako, tawagan mo na lang ako kung ano, ha, parang mag-enjoy ako, wala kayo dyan. Di ba, parang,
Correct. Oo.
saan ka mag-stress? Parang, hala, parang di naman covered ng insurance ang Botox. So, parang, wow, loko.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, you're such a jolly person, Miss Jaymee.
Yeah.
Ayaw mamatay.
Very inspiring.
Yeah. Pero Dr. Gia, you've seen how Miss Jaymee is, diba? She's so happy. She's so happy-go-lucky. Pero with you, how did you like form your mindset na, okay, we're fighting, kakapit tayo, lalaban tayo, and we're holding on?
It's really the one day at a time mentality. Like yun, pareho kami. When I wake up, the things that I disregarded before, like yung sunrise, sunset, dinisregard ko yun dati. Pero now that I'm a survivor, sobrang bingo sa akin makita yung sunset. So yung mga ganyan, it's really one day at a time, 1 hour at a time. Kung tulog ako ngayon, okay, pag-gising ako. I mean, and tama. If it's your time, it's your time. I know also a lot of friends who have resources, pero hindi nag-work eh. So I think we're all living in time lives, and I think the key there is to make the most out of it. So I think I'm just going through the days, and parang kasi right now my lifestyle is parang lahat na lang ginagawa ko na lang sabay-sabay ngayon, because I'll never know when I'm gonna go. But hindi naman ganun sa ka-morbid, but it's really living. Unlike before cancer, masyado kong autopilot. Always work, never resting. But after cancer, I learned the importance of self-care, the importance of setting boundaries for yourself. If it's stressing you out, say no. Yung mga ganong lessons, cancer actually taught me that. So I will always say, I'll forever hate cancer. Forever yan on my hate list. But you know, the lessons that it has taught me, I'll forever cherish that. Because it has taught me a lot about people, about self, about the need for support, and about living in your moment. And of course, about the power of faith.
I mean, despite it being such a hard situation to be in, it actually taught you how to live, diba? like how to live one day at a time. So with Marlo, I know like with our cancer survivors, iba yung mindset nila that they have to live one day at a time. But for you as a caregiver, as a family member, like how did you take care of yourself? Kasi we all know na parang hindi ka pwede bumigay eh. Hindi ka pwede bumigay before the battle ends, 'di ba? You have to be there through and through. So how did you do that? Like how did you take care of yourself then?
Well, of course, kahit hindi ako yung may cancer, I have a good, I'm thankful for a good support system sa friends ko, sa family, and of course, in connection ko with God. And I just couldn't give up, diba? So every time I see my mom, I put on this face na parang, I'm strong. But whenever I leave her and I remember how she is, na she cannot really move ng maayos, and then para siyang na-dissect na frog, ang dami niyang kung ano-ano kasi, dami kasi nangyari sa kanya. It's so painful to see, but you know, I have to be strong for her. And I still try to live my life talaga ng panahon na yun. Kasi if I can't live a healthy life, how can I be there for my mom? Diba? So, nung I also admitted that I can do it on my own. So, that's the first time I hired an assistant sa akin since hindi na ako nakasamahan ni daddy. And that time, since ang passion ko talaga is music, I was able to write a song then. It's called I Pray. And it's an inspiring song na I dedicated for my mom. And I'm so happy na nakita pa din yun because hindi na ako makatulog minsan sa gabi just thinking of her situation. And that led me to write a good song. And actually, ang daming ngayon mga nagme-message na sila naman yung nagdo-draw ng inspiration from that song. So I'm just happy to help. And you just have to find your purpose. Eh. And me, throughout that course, I found my purpose, and that is just to help people and inspire people, including my family, syempre. And yeah, that's it. Of course, I go to the gym before para din na maging healthy din ako. And hindi din maiiwasan na talagang minsan madadown ka talaga. Sobrang madadown ka talaga. But I have God. I have everything I need.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Marlo. Okay, so our experts and panelists have been emphasizing the importance of early detection, diba? Like to have the best treatment possible, you need to learn ahead of time, like what you're battling, diba? But a lot of Filipinas and for like a short number Filipinos then who have breast cancer, natatakot sila to seek help even if they already suspect they already have it. Kasi there's this stigma, di ba, na you don't talk about it, it's nakakahiya, like what Marlo was talking about, na parang it's nakakahiya, hindi dapat malaman ng ibang tao. Pero for our panelists today, like how important is it like to talk about it? Just the simple fact of talking about like cancer, like the treatments possible and getting early detection. Let's go first with Doc Meredith.
Yeah. So you're right, no? There are many patients that they can actually be afraid to go to the doctor and talk about it for many reasons. But it really is important to be very open about it because the first step to treating the cancer is actually, accepting it and going to the doctor for a consult. So usually, ano na rin yan parang sa family support. So like sinabi nila, di ba, very important talaga yung family support. Many times kasi we have patients na natatakot silang sabihin kasi they don't want to be a burden to the family or minsan natatakot lang silang sabihin sa kanila ng doktor na cancer nga and ganyan. So talagang important yung support system para ma-encourage din sila na mag-speak up about it. And kaya part yun ng mga advocacy natin, no? Also with the because we can advocacy, na important nga yung ma-detect ng maaga and to talk to your doctor right away about it. Kasi yun talaga yung first step. So there's no shame, there's no stigma in getting breast cancer. So wag po tayong matakot na pag-usapan siya. Kasi ang susi para magamot siya is mapag-usapan at magamot siya ng maaga.
Okay. So for Dr. Gia naman, like napansin mo yung lump, like parang ano lang, accidental lang almost, di ba? Pero how can you encourage more women na parang do a typical breast exam? Like, parang make ka pa your breast, like whenever it's, di ba, may time na you have to really do your breast exam, di ba? There's an opportune time. So talk about like, how should you encourage women? How could you encourage women to regularly check their breasts?
Um, Short answer lang, no? For me talaga, health is wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, it is. I've learned that the hard way. And you cannot actually serve when you yourself you're sick. So I think more than serving others, you have to take care of yourself first. So I'll start with that. With that, mahirap tanggapin yan eh. Pero I learned it the hard way. So take care of yourself. It's also like taking care of others.
Mm-hmm. So for Miss Jaymee, like how do you encourage now since you have a lot of friends na probably is in witness of your journey na how do you encourage them na oh take care of yourself then do your breast exams regularly, like how do you tell them that?
With me, I just ask them randomly because my friends would always ask me, "Kamusta? How's everything with you?" And if napag-usapan, I would bring up like, "How about you? Have you been doing some checkups? Have you been doing your self-exam?" Because usually I would suggest to do it at least once a month. Parang tie it up with some activity. Like in my case, shower. Parang
Mm-hmm.
I unconsciously have been examining my breasts when I shower once in a while. So parang ano na siya, like parang kasama na siya sa pag-shower ko na parang medyo nagkakapa-kapa. So parang naka-associate na siya. So that way you don't forget. You're
Mm-hmm.
always on check with,
Yeah.
with your body. And
Mm-hmm.
and it can really save a life. I
Mm-hmm.
super agree na parang if maaga mo siya ma-detect, the bigger chance of it not metastasizing or even, advancing. So hindi siya dapat tinitake for granted. It's something that should actually be taught in school for health subjects.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's very necessary.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
for Marlo, I know you're like, I know hindi ikaw yung nagka-breast cancer, pero have you entered the point na you'd also tell your friends na, oh, this is something that's very serious and you shouldn't take this lightly. You should get yourself checked if possible. Do you have that conversations with like friends, family members?
Yeah, I do. Actually, kasi very tulad nga ng sabi ni Miss Jamie, very different kasi yung culture talaga dito sa Pilipinas about iba't ibang mga sakit, lalo na yung mental health, di ba, na parang hindi siya usual, but it's really important and it's part of our holistic being, di ba? So kailangan talaga pag-usapan. And number one, general na lang to, don't self-diagnose. Talagang
Mm-hmm.
kailangan mong magtanong sa mga doctors kung ano ba yan. Don't be too complacent kasi I think with my mom's case naman before, kasi talagang ano siya sanay na siya na tinutubuan siya ng mga cyst. So, nag-benign naman yung result as I was growing up. Kaya siguro hindi niya sobrang na-take seriously. I don't know, hindi ko naman ma-judge, but nung stage 3 na kasi agad siya 3A nung yung na-diagnose siya. And you should really pay attention. You should really check your body from time to time. Important talaga yan kasi you'll never know if it's that serious. Di ba stage 3 na hindi niya alam. Kasi nga,
Mm-hmm.
normal sa kanya na may nakakapa siya. But
Mm-hmm.
it might seem normal to us, but yung body natin, di natin alam baka mamaya, ayun na pala yun. Di ba? Yung
Mm-hmm.
hinihintay natin na sign.
Yes. So now I have a personal question for our panelists. Kasi like all of you, I have my own breast cancer story. Pero my grandmother on my father's side died of breast cancer in 2016. And on my mother's side, she also has history of breast cancer in the family. I have several aunts who had breast cancer. And knowing that I may be at risk, kasi sometimes you can just inherit it, diba? Like Miss Gia said na parang baka ipamana niya sa anak niya her cancer diagnosis. And like, when do you start getting yourself checked? Like, I'm 26. Like, when do I start going to my doctor? When do I start asking questions? Like, maybe Doc Mere and then Doc Gia.
So, for usually kasi the recommendations really for average risk women. So, ito yung mga patient or people na walang known history ng mga genetic mutation like BRCA, those who do not have first-degree relatives with breast cancer or ovarian cancer, those without a history of radiation to the chest area. Yon. So meron actually ring tools There are risk prediction tools that actually best kasi siya na discussed with the doctor. But for an average risk person, yung pinaka-screening pa rin talaga is the mammogram kasi. So like me, I personally follow what I advise for patients and their relatives would be the American Cancer Society recommendations. So at age 40 to 44, it's a case by case basis. Age 45 to 54, once a year na mammogram. And then 55 onwards until the patient has good health and a life expectancy at least 10 years, pwedeng 1 or 2 years. But for the ano kasi, yung sa self breast exam, actually any woman can do it naman eh. So I mean any age, any woman can do it. It's actually a way kasi for you to be breast self-aware. So right now the main recommendation really is, or the purpose of the self breast exam is for a woman to become self-aware of the breasts. So yun lang siya. Hindi siya na formally incorporated into recommendations, but it can be a way for a woman to be breast self-aware. So, ni-recommend namin siya na pwede nila siyang gawin around a week after the start of the menses for those who are still in the menstruating age po.
Okay. So, Dr. Gia, do you want to add anything about early detection? Like at what age should you start?
Yeah. No, basically, pareho kami ni Meredith ng answer. I'm
Okay.
good.
So, again, to reiterate, you do your breast exams a week after you get your menses, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, para hindi masyadong tender kasi medyo tender siya kapag kaka-start lang ng menstruation. Yeah.
Okay. So, that's important information. Diba?
Mm.
So again, so battling cancer is definitely a life-changing experience, diba? And you've learned a lot of lessons, like especially for Miss Jaymee, Dr. Gia, Mr. Marlo, and probably Doc Mere from the patients you've seen over the years. So what are the lessons? I know we've touched on this earlier, like learning how to live, loving life, and fighting. But any other lessons you want to share for our viewers today? Who wants to start? Or do I pick? Okay, so let's do it muna with Dr. Gia first.
Okay, for me, take care of yourself physically, mentally, and always have that social aspect as well. Because again, I will always start with the notion that you cannot care for others unless you take care of yourself. And for those of you who are battling cancer, you just keep going. Let's all remember that cancer is just a word and it's not a sentence to life. And that there's so much more to life than that. And just take it one step at a time. Matatapos rin yan. And for those who are caring for people with cancer, thank you for your patience and understanding. And that please know that without you, hindi namin to makakayanan by ourselves. So, three-pronged message yan for you guys.
Mm-hmm. And so going on to Miss Jaymee, what other life lessons could you share with us?
I'll say it in bullet points. It's okay to be vulnerable. Absolutely wrong with that. Number two, it's not your fault if you get cancer. Babies get cancer. Old people get cancer. It doesn't matter with your race, your health status, wealth status. It's just sometimes a random call, and you shouldn't hate yourself or think that you shoulda, woulda, coulda. It's sometimes just the randomness of life, and you just need to roll with the tides and roll with the punches and appreciate every single day you're alive. You have no idea how great it is to wake up and you're moving and you're functioning properly, you're breathing okay, you don't have to visit the hospital, you don't get poked, you don't lose your hair. All these little things that you just take for granted in life, when you get something like this, you realize how important it is. But yun nga, I guess my message is don't wait for a disease before you start living and having your faith and believing in a higher power and taking care of yourself. All these things that Dr. Gia said, it doesn't have to be triggered by a disease. You have to learn how to live life and just appreciate everything. And also for people who have no awareness, I really think that it's about time for our culture, especially in the Philippines. I think it really helped me a lot that I'm here in America when I was going through this, because people always ask me, how did I do it by myself without family here? I mean, my family supports me virtually mostly, but it's because America is more open about these things. There's support everywhere, and people don't freak out when you tell them what you're going through. They only freak out if you look freaked out. If parang nakikita nila na ikaw yung parang naiilang dun sa situation mo, of course, they'll get the energy. Pero I think it's time for our culture to learn how to support cancer survivors in a way na parang we don't need a pity party all the time. We don't want you to look worried if you meet us. We don't want you to parang give us unsolicited advice. Parang just treat us like normal. Treat us how we project. Parang if we show to you that we're scared, we want to cry, we want to talk, then let us. Pero if we show to you that we're in a good mood today and we're fine, like things are good, then we're fine. Believe it. Parang don't, kasi parang I think that's the common problem why survivors don't want to open up. Kasi parang, like even in my case, like I will come to a party and I look really healthy and in my heels, and I'm like, I just came from yoga, I feel really good. And then I would say like, oh yeah, I just did my infusion this morning. And then they would like, no, like automatic the mood goes down. And I hate that because I feel guilty na parang sinira ko yung vibe ng party kasi parang na bad mood yung mga tao or nalungkot, nag-alala. So I think having that awareness na parang people should learn how to treat cancer survivors like we're still humans at the end of the day. We're still living our lives. We're not a walking corpse. We're not dead yet. I'm still here. I'm still alive. So don't treat me like you're already looking at me in my deathbed in a hospital. Like I'm not dying yet, not yet. So let's just enjoy and treat me like a normal person. We all want that normalcy at the end of the day. Parang we don't always just want to talk about cancer. We don't always just want to be pitied. Parang there's a misconception. That's why I think I'm overcompensating with like being jolly and being active. Because I want to show people na parang, hey, I'm still achieving my American dream here. I'm still building a name under Jaymee Wins here. I'm still doing yoga like full time. I'm an advanced yogi. I still work. Parang no, it doesn't mean that parang cancer ang tingin na nila. Hala, nakahiga ka na lang sa bed, malungkot ka na, mamamatay ka na. Parang no, of course not. Parang so I'm just hoping that people will learn that because I think it will really help a lot of survivors live long if they know that they are in a very, very supportive environment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so Doc Meret, like, how do you in the probably the experience of you as a doctor, like what would you tell your patients?
Yeah. So I'll be speaking from the perspective of someone who takes care of cancer patients on a daily basis. So maybe the final message here that I will say is there is always something that can be done. The goals of treatment for cancer patients will be different at every stage. So of course, we would like to go for a cure as much as possible. Sometimes it is not possible, but there's always something that we can offer you. So, kailangan lang na, tama po lahat ng sinabi ng ating mga co-panelists na important lang din talaga yung lakas ng loob and positivity. I actually agree then with what they say, and it's actually also a personal advice that I give to my patients because really they will go to you na minsan iiyak sila or anxious sila, which is expected. Ganun talaga yung mararamdaman. But I tell them that, yung pag-focus doon sa negative aspect of it is not gonna change things. But kung mas lalakasan ang loob with the support of the family, mas kahit papano, mas mapapadali yung pag-deal nila with the cancer. So, important yung mindset, important yung faith kay Lord, and of course, yung trust sa medical team na gagawin namin lahat ng possible para matulungan kayo.
Mm-hmm. And now for Marlo, like what other advice can you give aside from having faith?
Isa sa mga natutunan ko talaga is life is short, life is precious, and life is beautiful. So, huwag na nating hintayin na may mangyari pa sa atin. Dapat talaga magpa-check talaga tayo. Kasi still, babalik pa din tayo dun sa kasabihan na prevention is better than cure. So, fight a good fight of faith. Hindi lang kay God. Of course, syempre yun yung pinaka-battle natin na spiritual battle kasama talaga dyan. But have faith in your doctors. Have faith in yourself, di ba? Na makakayanan mo to. Kasi di ba, lahat may katapusan. So, even yung pinakamatinding mga problema, lahat yan may katapusan. And hindi naman din enough yung faith lang. You have to act. Kailangan mo talagang magpa-consult. Di ba? Kaya nga, sobrang helpful tong ganitong mga talks kasi na-open yung natin yung minds natin na hindi lang tayo yung nagdadanas ng ganito and it's something that shouldn't be hidden. And kaya maganda na iba't ibang perspective. Meron tayo dito mga doctors, sina Doc Gia and Doc Meredith, na sila na mismo, mga doctor sila, but sila na din mismo yung nagsasabi na hindi nila kaya yun mag-isa. So, di ba, we need a great support system, we need a great set of doctors to help us, we need God, the ultimate healer, to help us. So, masasabi ko lang, let go and let God.
Okay. Thank you so much to our panelists. And this has been a very, very meaningful session. And not to close it lang, like, do you have any other final words? Like, if our viewers are probably being enlightened right now, maybe some of them are fighting your fight. So what would you tell them right now at this moment? So let's go first to Doc Meret, then Doc Gia, Miss Jaymee, then Marlo.
Yun.
Doc Meret?
Yeah. So the cancer journey is not easy, but with people supporting you, with your loved ones, your friends supporting you, with a medical team that works hard to make you feel better, and with faith in God, everything can be controlled, and hopefully that you will be able to live your life as Dr. Gia said. Just live your day one day at a time, and see still the beauty in the world that's there.
Okay. So Doc Gia?
Me naman, keep going. I hope faith more than fear. That has been my mantra ever since, especially when I'm so scared. Especially pag mammogram time. Faith over fear lang yan. Faith over fear. And then, matatapos din yan. And you will, and fight strong. Fight strong. And please know that we're also here for you.
Okay, thank you. Miss Jaymee?
It's simple. It's not over until you're 6 feet under. Until you're here, until you're
Yes.
breathing. Even if I stay in bed and I can't walk anymore, the fact that I'm still awake, it means I can write, I can still do something, I can knit. There's things to do while you're still alive. So until you're breathing, there's always a chance that a miracle can happen. I've heard so many stories of suddenly biglang nag-remission, walang ma-explain, spontaneous remission. So wag mawala ng pag-asa, number one. Faith is gonna be there no matter what. I think that's just a very big factor of it's a trigger for you to want to live. And develop a very good relationship with your medical team, with yourself, and with your support team. You only need a few people who will stick around, and your medical team is gonna be God's instrument to keep you winning in the battle. So you have to really get close to them, report to them everything, and take very, very good care of yourself. Your body's a lot for you. Your body is the vessel of your soul. So do everything in your power to take care of yourself. So you'll be tolerating the treatments better.
Yes. And now finally, Marlo?
Suot ko talaga. Ay, mali, baliktad. Be brave, guys. Tandaan niyo yun, 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 7, for God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. And actually, kaya ang dami ko ding mga insights kasi share ko na din sa experience ko. For the past 3 months, I had anxiety. And talagang sobrang akala ko, hindi na ako makakawala. Ang hirap pala, no? I've been very strong all my life, pero meron din pala akong weakness. And nakita ko talaga dun yung value ng buhay natin, na it's not about all these material things in life. It's about giving value to this life that God gave us. Tandaan nyo, di ba, everything will perish, even our body. But our spirit, ayun talaga yung mag-carry on forever. So, sa mga napanghinaan ng loob, hanggat buhay tayo, meron talaga tayong pag-asa. Diba? Lagi naman natin yung sinasabi. But it is true. And there's no reason to stop fighting. We have our family. We have our friends. And look at you guys. Tingnan nyo naman, di ba? Ang dami na natin na pagdaanan. Lalo kayo na mga nagdaan sa mga impossible. But always remember that nothing is impossible.
Thank you so much, everyone. And I think one of the main takeaway of this session is that we can talk about breast cancer. We should talk about breast cancer. Kaya nga, di ba, the campaign is #BCWeCan. Thank you
Yes.
so much for all your insights today. And we hope to our viewers that you've taken something to carry on with you. You may not be struggling with breast cancer right now, but maybe you have relatives you do who do. So we hope that this session will be of help to you. Thank you again, our panelists, for sharing your time and patience with us. Like, thank you, Dr. Meredith Garcia-Trinidad, Dr. Gia Sison, Miss Jaymee Joaquin, and Marlo Mortel. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank
Also,
you.
thank you. Also, many thanks to our partners for making this Business World Insight session possible. Hope from Within, Olern, and the Philippine Star. For more information about the hashtag BC Weekend initiative from Hope from Within, follow and like their page on Facebook and Twitter. Hope from Within. That's their Facebook and Twitter page. Thank you so much. And of course, to everyone who joined today's discussion, thank you for spending your morning or afternoon with us. We hope we were able to give you light as you journey the battle against breast cancer and share with you the important facts about breast cancer. Let us spread hope and pray for healing for everyone. Be sure to tune in to Business World social media pages to be updated on our next projects. Again, this has been Charlene Chua, and this has been Business World Insight. Stay informed, stay safe, and stay healthy. Thank you, everyone. Have a nice day.